10 years ago today, I developed my very first severe dysautonomia attack. I was 17 years old. I'm not going to go into complete detail about my whole diagnosis story because that would take longer than I intend this video to be. I was in my 11th grade anatomy class, just doing whatever. Everything was normal about that day. I didn't feel off up until that point, but it was around 11 o'clock. I started having these weird sensations. I felt like I was going to pass out. Then all of a sudden I just felt this weird adrenaline rush just completely take over my body. The side of my face was like starting to droop down, and all I could see was tunnel vision and like directly ahead, and then like splotches of like weird TV static everywhere, and my hearing was going out, and it felt like my tongue was swelling up. So I got up to alert my teacher, but by then my whole vision was almost completely gone, and I tried to open my mouth to say, "May I go to the nurse?" but the words just wouldn't come out. My speech was so slurred, my head just wasn't thinking right. I don't know how to describe it, but I felt like I was losing my mind completely. The teacher called in a nurse. I was still internally panicking because I've taken enough healthcare classes to know that I was having all the symptoms of a stroke. So the nurse wheeled me to her office, got me checked out. I guess my vitals were fine. She didn't really tell me what my vitals were, but she did call my mom. My mom picked me up, took me to the emergency room, and the words that were coming out of my mouth at that point were not the words that I was meaning to say. Nothing that came out of my mouth made sense. I was still conscious, I was coherent, I knew everything going on around me, but the words that were leaving my lips were just random gibberish. Once I got to the hospital, they ran a CAT scan and I think some x-rays, but they didn't find nothing wrong. Did some blood work, nothing was wrong. So they diagnosed me with complex migraine. When in reality, in retrospect, that was obviously my first dysautonomia attack that I've had. It's been 10 years and I still remember that day very vividly. It feels so weird to say. I'm 27 now. I was 17. I was still a kid. And to have that happen so young is... I'm looking back. I've been through so much character development that I don't see how my life would be if I didn't go through that. But at the time, the first few years after that event, I was distraught. Every day, every anniversary day just sent me into like a complete depressed state. I no longer feel bad about this day. I feel like it's a milestone now of what I went through and what I survived. Everything I've survived up until this point. 10 years of autonomic dysfunction. Granted, I had like minor symptoms beforehand, but I never really took an interest to figure out what was going on, but we're not going to talk about that. It's been 10 years since my first attack. My first major attack when my life completely turned upside down, quite literally. Because I was passing out a lot, but hey, dark humor. I look back at what all I've been through and I'm just in shock. I'm also in a little bit of awe that I've pulled through. I became a better person. I can help people who is going through it. It's still an emotional day for me, but instead of looking back depressed about everything, I can look at all I accomplished, all I achieved, everyone that I've helped through all this volunteering for Dysautonomia International, the proclamations, and just helping new patients out. Not to mention, I've come so far to get to where I am today. I am so thankful that it's not as severe as it used to be. It is mild, it is managed now. I still have my days, of course, because It's not curable unless, you know, God heals me, if that's in his will. But as of right now, I still have POTS. I still have dysautonomia. Like, I could feel myself like tearing up now, even though I don't really see it as, I don't feel hopeless anymore. I'm just grieving the girl I was 10 years ago when I thought my life was gonna end, like, for real. But it didn't. And I'm still here today. I guess I'm still kind of like grieving what my life could have been. Even though at this point I don't see it turning out any other way. Because it's been 10 years. 10 years is long, but also not long. Oh, I'm getting emotional about it. But in another video I do want to like explain my entire diagnosis journey. I just wanted to get out a few feelings and thoughts I had about today specifically and what it means to me and how I feel.